Annette Philip is a vocalist, touring and session musician, influencer, master clinician, and entrepreneur who thrives on experimenting with the human voice. Hailing from Kerala, India, Annette is the artistic director of the Berklee India Exchange and the founder and director of the renowned Berklee Indian Ensemble, which has garnered over 170 million views on YouTube. Annette is creative director and core vocalist of the multi-award-winning international a cappella quartet Women of the World, who perform music in 37 languages. She's also known for her charming persona and gorgeous silk saris on the popular PBS show Sing That Thing and her daily internet series Keeping It Light. Annette Philip, welcome to the Power Station Podcast.
Thank you, Stephen. And man, what an intro.
That was quite an intro, wasn't it? So you do so many things, from the Indian Ensemble to Women of the World to television to recording to touring. How do you balance it all? I mean, that's the first question I have for you, because everybody is human. And I think people that look at you and you're always so calm and so centered. How do you stay in balance?
First of all, I don't think I'm always calm and centered. Thank you for the perception. I don't try to balance. After many years of struggling, and I'm sure you can resonate with this, not only did I feel that everything was out of balance, I was constantly scolded and told by many people that you must achieve more balance in your life. And I struggled with it. I struggled daily, and it really affected my self-esteem. And also, it put a lot of pressure and guilt on me. I often felt like I wasn't, a good daughter, or I wasn't a good enough teacher, or I was letting my team down. And something that really shifted for me was when I listened to the speaker, Lisa Nichols. She talked about work-life harmony as opposed to work-life balance.
Ah, interesting.
And that was such an interesting concept, because the word balance usually indicates to most of us a 50-50 cut. And a great visual that works for me is when I'm watching someone create a pyramid of cards, playing cards, like a castle of cards. When I see someone doing that, I feel anxious for them. I hold my breath.
Right.
It's such an art of precision that people have to be so careful about making sure that these opposing cards are completely symmetrical and nothing is helter-skelter. And that's not how life is. Life is everything, who knows?
Everything is helter-skelter.
Exactly.
Time to time. Yeah.
When I started shifting my internal vocabulary to involve the word harmony rather than balance, I realized that the pressure was off, because the word harmony, by definition, means a pleasing arrangement of various elements that can coexist effortlessly or somewhat effortlessly. And I realized I love the work that I do, and I love what others considered my personal life. I don't want to feel that there's competition within my own life. And ever since I shifted the use of that vocabulary from balance to harmony, things have been much better.
I love that, because also in harmony, it's implied that a little bit of rub now and then, a little bit of distance can actually make it more interesting. So another substitution that you speak about in your live stream, Keeping It Light, is saying thank you rather than sorry. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh my goodness, this is something that changed so many things for me. I am a compulsive apologizer. I say sorry even if someone else hit me in the street. I'll apologize that I was in their way. I noticed that the words that we say often become a part of our constant self-talk. And self-talk defines how we see ourselves. It begins to shape what we think we can achieve as individuals.
Certainly.
And it infuses, those words have power. All the words that we repeat often infuse certain value systems and beliefs into our DNA, so to speak, or at least our emotional, mental makeup.
Sure.
Every time you apologize for something, you are demeaning yourself in a little way. And I'm not saying never apologize. I think if you've done something wrong, if you've wronged someone, if you've made a mistake, definitely, own your mistake, grow from it. However, let me give you some examples. Let's say I am having a really bad day and I talk to my mom And in the middle of it, I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm wasting all your time. I've been talking all this while. Instead of that, you could actually say, thank you so much for listening to me and giving me space to express myself. Similarly, I think for young people, or really any age, when you're trying something new and you're making mistake after mistake, oftentimes we'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I messed up. But instead, if you pivot and you say, thank you for being patient as I learn and grow and evolve, it also reminds you to be kind to yourself and to be patient with yourself. And it gives the other person a moment to remember that you're in your learning phase. And I just think it has transformed the opportunities or the situations in my life where I am able to remember. I still am a compulsive apologizer, but I'm working on it. It's a work in progress, and it's helping a lot.
That's fantastic. I do want to ask you about one project in particular, the Berklee Indian Ensemble.
Okay.
Has a very popular video, or actually a couple now, that you recorded at the Power Station in 360 cinematic VR.
Yeah.
We were so thrilled to have you in the house. Could you talk a little bit about the group that you recorded and just that whole experience of recording in 360?
Well, the Indian Ensemble is about to turn 10 years old next year. And we've had almost 400 musicians from 43 countries be part of this ensemble.
That's amazing.
And we've been very blessed that so far the music that we've created and put out into the world has been supported and encouraged and loved. And we were actually on our first East Coast tour when we got this beautiful opportunity to record at the Power Station. And just being there, imbibing the energy and the legacy of this beautiful studio was really, I think, awe-inspiring for all of us. It was a 15-piece ensemble. We had a live audience, which was perfect. And we set up in a circle in the main room, and then our percussionists were in another room, sort of in a semicircle. And I think just seeing the jaunt cameras was exciting. It almost looks like some sort of alien spacecraft type structure. It looks like it has many eyes.
Yes.
Very, very cool. Anyway, it was a great experience. And I think primarily watching the 360 video post-production was beautiful because I could decide to focus on a specific moment or a specific group of people, depending on where I chose to focus my attention. And I would play it multiple times and each time focus on a different part of the room. It's just such a beautiful, immersive technology. It's going to change the way that people experience recorded music. And I hope that, it'll be more accessible, really, to people.
Sure. As the technology gets smaller for the consumer, I think we're really going to see that take off. Well, Annette Philip, thank you so much for joining us on the Power Station podcast. Do you have one more closing thought for us?
Something that I've always struggled with is the concept of perfect.
Yes.
Practice makes perfect. I think all of us have heard this from teachers, from parents, you name it. I don't know that it's helpful necessarily anymore, at least in my life. And my internal pivot has been practice makes progress.
That's much more realistic. Well, very seldom does practice actually make perfect in the first place.
Right. Perfection is elusive, and perfection also assumes that there's only one possible outcome, which is somewhat rigid, whereas progress is fluid. Progress is right now going to the next right now and the next right now. And therefore, it's transparent. There is no mask. You know exactly where you are, who you are at that point. And it focuses more on what you are and what you have achieved rather than what you are not.
Annette Philip hosts a daily series called Keeping It Light, where she delves into helpful, practical advice for creative people, akin to what she shared with us today. You can find Keeping It Light with Annette Philip on Instagram and Facebook Live.